Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the mid-year tag that's been going around in BookTube. It was going around last week because last week was the middle of the year, 15 June, which is the middle of the year. I am late, but that's okay because I'm late at everything. I procrastinate everything till the last fucking moment. So here I am doing my mid-year tag at the end of June, which is kind of the end, right? The end of the 6th month. It's okay, everything's fine. So I have some questions written down over here. These questions are from Just Ali's video. So if you don't know what the mid-year tag is, it's basically a series of questions related to books that I'm going to be answering, and the answers to those questions will be books that I've read this year so far. So this year I have read around 42 books so far. Yeah, 42 books. I'm on my 43rd book right now. That's amazing because my goal for the year was to read around 60 to 70 books, and I'm already 45, reaching 45, and it's the middle of the year. So it's a very nice, good, amazing pace. Honestly, it's an amazing pace for me. It's amazing. And yeah, let's get to the questions. I have a lot of books that I want to discuss over here. So yeah, the first question is best book that you've read so far. So for this, if you guys have seen my recent reading wrap up, you will know the answer to this, but I'll still tell you again. It is The Three-Body Problem by Cixin Liu. This book is just, I constantly think about this book every day, just the things that were in this book. I have explained this plot of this book to so many of my friends who do not read books, so I didn't spoil anything for them because they will never pick up the book. If I'm sitting free, I will be thinking about this book. If I'm sitting free with someone, I'll be talking about this book. It's just, this book had such a huge impact on me. If you guys don't know what this is a science fiction novel about science inventions and discoveries, about contacting with extraterrestrial beings and alien invasions, and just a lot of physics is involved in this, along with a lot of aliens, honestly. And I did not know I loved aliens this much, honestly, because I'd always felt like science fiction is something that will be enjoyed through movies the best, but I was so wrong. I recommend this book to literally everyone. It's a 5-star read. It's the first book in the series, and I just know the other books in the series are also going to be 5-star reads, and I'm just dying to read them, honestly. So yeah, this is the first one that I want to talk about. Before we move on to the next question, I feel like I should do some honorary mentions for this particular question because there are a couple of 5-star reads that I had this year. So the first book that I want to mention is A Man Called Ove by Fredrik Backman, I don't know. This is a Swedish novel that has been translated, obviously, and I just loved this book so much. It was like, the writing was just so melancholic and just beautiful. There were parts that I was crying, there were parts that I was laughing, and it was just a amazing, just a heartfelt book, and I loved it to my core. I will not explain too much about these books because there are a lot of books that I have to talk about. So I'm just gonna tell you, read this book if you haven't. It's amazing. Next up is Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Every single Taylor Jenkins Reid book is a 5-star read for me, so this wasn't a big surprise to me that this is going to be a 5-star read. But the surprising aspect of this book was I read this entire thing in one go. I read this in under 5 hours, one go, and I just enjoyed this book so much. It's fast-paced. You'll always be on your toes the entire time. It's about Carrie Soto, who is a retired tennis player who kind of comes back from her retirement to beat her own record, which has been beaten by someone else, right? The relationships in this book that Carrie Soto has with her friends, especially her father, is one of the best aspects of this book. And if you haven't read any Taylor Jenkins Reid books, I don't know if this will be the best book to start with. I think her other books are better ways of starting Taylor Jenkins Reid, but if you have, and if you have enjoyed Taylor Jenkins Reid, I think you should definitely try this book as well. It's a definite 5-star for me. Next up is And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. Agatha Christie is always a very high-rated author, a very high-rated book for me because I just enjoy her novels so much. They're short, they're fast-paced, you just want to know what's happening, and I pretty much read all of her books almost in one go, and it's just so interesting. This actually has been voted as the best Agatha Christie novel globally, so that's an even better thing. This book follows a group of, I think, 10 people who go off to a separate island where they are invited for a party by an anonymous Mr. and Mrs. Owen, who ultimately do not show up. And one by one, each of these invited people end up dying. And this book just follows that entire process, and the reveal at the end, the plot twist at the end was so good. Again, this is one book that I constantly think about because of that plot twist, because I'm just like, how can someone be so brilliant? Agatha Christie, how? So yeah, this is everyone should read this book. Even if you're a non-reader, this is a perfect book to read because it's very short. It's, I think, 200 some, it's not even 200 pages. Oh, it is 200 pages. It's 250 pages, but it's very fast-paced. You'll be done with this book in almost no time, and you'll be so entertained the entire time. Then we have The Way I Used to Be by Amber Smith. It's a very sad, heartbreaking book, but it's so beautifully written that it made me feel so many things, and it made me feel so sad, honestly, because if you don't know, this book follows Eden, who has gone through a very traumatic experience very early on in her life during her childhood, and it just follows her throughout her 4 years of high school and how she copes up with her life. And it's just beautifully written. Again, a book that I think about constantly. It's just a very good book. Everyone should read this. Obviously, please first search up trigger warnings before committing to a book like this, but yeah. And then the last book that I'm going to be mentioning, there are other books as well. There are 5-star rates, but they are the answers to a few other questions in this video, so I'm not going to be mentioning them right now. So the last book that I want to talk about is The Serpent and the Wings of the Night by Carissa Broadbent. It's a fantasy book about vampires. That's all I'm going to say. It's vampires plus Hunger Games, and it's just so good. It's fast-paced. It's just action-packed, plot twists, everything that you want. Romance. It's romance as well. It's just an amazing book if you want to start fantasy, or if you want to read more of fantasy. You already read fantasy and you want to read more. This is a very good book to do that. And yeah, I think it's time to move on to the next question. I've been talking about best books for quite some time now. Okay, so the next book is best sequel that I've read so far this year. So honestly, I have not read many sequels this year. I did read Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. This is the second book in the Last Hour series. This is technically a sequel, but this was not my favorite. Like, not even my favorite sequel, but not even like the favorite book in this series, because I like Chain of Gold way more, so I'm not going to be talking about that. But I will mention these two books, which are sort of like not the second book of the series, but they're further down in the series, so I'm just going to consider these as sequels. It is Empire of Storm and Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas. These are, I think, the 6th and 7th book in the series, and if I want to choose my favorite book among them, I cannot, because I love these both so much. I obviously cannot say much about this because they're 6th and 7th book in the series. I'll be spoiling all the other books in the series, but if you haven't read Throne of Glass, please do. It's amazing. Sarah J. Maas is a genius, and these two books were so good. I actually tandem read these, so it was like 2 chapters, 3 chapters, 4 chapters, 5 chapters, and it was just such a great experience, and I would definitely recommend Throne of Glass to all of you guys. Please do read that. Then the next question is new release that I haven't read so far. Again, there are a lot of books that can come under this category, but the one that I'm going to be mentioning is Fourth Wing. This book has blown up on BookTok, BookTube so much, and I honestly feel left out. I'm not able to find a copy of that, and I know you'll say read on a Kindle, but I just want the physical copies so badly. So I'm just waiting when I can get that book and I can read that book, be a part of this community that is dying and is falling in love with Fourth Wing and Rebecca Yarros so much. Okay guys, so the next question is, what was the biggest surprise for you this year in terms of books, obviously? So the biggest surprise, honestly, for me was science fiction in general. I did not know science fiction in books can be so interesting. I was always a fan of science fiction movies and series like Interstellar and other stuff, but I just never thought that science fiction is a genre that can be enjoyed so much in terms of books. And the two books so far this year that I've read of science fiction are, as mentioned before, Three Body Problem. Not going to talk about this. The other one is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. This book is so good. If I was to bring the synopsis of this book down to one line, I would say this is Hunger Games in space. Hunger Games specifically on Mars. And this book is just, I honestly don't have anything to say about this book other than it's an amazing book. It's a 5-star read for me, and this science fiction has honestly been a very big surprise for me this year. The next science fiction book that I'm dying to read is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. He is also the author of The Martian. I've just been seeing this book so many places lately. I bought it and I really want to read it because I'm becoming a science fiction girly. I am. Next question is favorite new author. So for me, I'm honestly very happy just saying this because she is almost everyone's favorite author and she is mine as well now. So I'm talking about Emily Henry. This is her newest release, Happy Place. I love this book so much. I was up till 5 a.m. I think day before yesterday reading this book, and I had happy tears, sad tears, all kind of tears. It was just so good. Emily Henry's writing is just so much fun. Like, there are literally parts where I laugh out loud, or literally parts where I'm like, why are my tears not stopping? I need to have my eyes clear to read, stop crying. Emily Henry is such an amazing author. I have only read 2 books by her so far, but both of these books have been 5-star reads for me. Happy Place, definitely a 5-star read. If you haven't read Emily Henry, I suggest you go pick up her book, because what are you doing? Emily Henry, favorite new author for me. So talking about Emily Henry, the next question that I have is a book that made you happy, and it is Beach Read by Emily Henry. This is her first book that I read, and I was honestly skeptical about this book because it's a very popular book talk book, and recently all the popular book talk books that I have read, I did not enjoy them. So I was skeptical while going into this book, but I was blown away. This book was so good. The banter between Janet and Gus was so good. I was laughing out loud. The sad parts were so sad. It's an amazing book. If you haven't read Emily Henry, again, I'm gonna say go pick up her books. She's an amazing author. You will have a great time reading her. Next question is, what is the most beautiful book that you've bought this year, or just a book that you own, right? And for me, it is On Earth We're Beautifully Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. This book is so pretty. I not only love the cover, the spine, I don't know what this is called. The red thing is to die for. It's honestly so good. And once you remove the jacket, it is just plain red with the title in black, and it is just so pretty. It's just red all over, and I honestly love the color red. That's one of the reasons why I love this book so much. It's just beautiful. I will read it though. I haven't read it yet. I will. Believe me, I will. The last question is, what are the books that I really want to read by the end of the year? Again, a question with a million answers. But I'll keep them short. My goal for this year is pretty much to finish all of the series that I started. So I really want to get to Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J Maas. This is a mammoth of a book, and that's the reason why I've been putting it off for so long. But I'm dying to read this book and just be done with Sonograph, honestly, so that I can move on to other series. And also because I love this series just so much, I really want to know how it wraps up, even though so that's one book that I really want to read. Next is, again, these 2 series that I've started recently. They're the first book in both their series, and I really want to finish these series as well. So we have the second book of this, which is The Dark Forest, and the second book of this, which is Golden Sun. I am dying to read these books as well. Same goes with Serpent in the Wings of the Night, the second book, Ashes in the Star-Cursed King. I am dying to read that. What else? yeah, that's pretty much it. And also, I want to be done with my TBR shelf so that I can buy more. Honestly, I could just go on and on about what all books I have to read. So I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to end the video here. Thank you so much guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys liked all the books that I talked about. Tell me if you've read any of these. Tell me in the comments below. Yeah, thank you so much for watching guys. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.